Commissioners meeting for Monday, October 16, 2023 order. All please rise for a pledge of allegiance and remain standing for a memorial moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Please remain standing for a moment for Richard Stoll, who passed away on September 25th. Richard was the husband of customer service employee. Debbie Skoll for Herbert Hoover, who passed away on September 26th. Herbert was the uncle of Police Chief Randy Hoover, and Bruce Bowen, who passed away on October 2nd. Bruce was the father of Police Sergeant Jason Bowen. Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to executive session held tonight. That's various personnel and legal matters. We'll be going for public presentation.
I was just going to introduce Laura and let her.
Turn it over to our township manager, Mr. Bovett.
And I'll just quickly turn it over to Laura Mersch from the Berks County Planning Commission, who helped us through this process. So Laura.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Mersch. I am the Intergovernmental Affairs Planner at the Berks County Planning Commission. Today I'm here to talk to you about the joint comprehensive plan between Muhlenberg and Laurel. I started as a project manager on this plan. In early 2021, Muhlenberg Township approached the Berks County Planning Commission and asked for our services in providing aid for a comprehensive plan. At that time, we discussed the pluses and minuses of doing a joint plan and had suggested that Laureldale Borough and Muhlenberg School District were involved in the efforts. Recognizing the benefits of that, including regional solutions to infrastructure demands, higher priority grant funding in multi-municipal projects, a reduction in the duplication of efforts between the municipalities, and a development of a working relationship with the neighboring municipalities. The township had agreed and decided that that was the best course of action to move forward. So in May and June of 2021, Muhlenberg Township, Laureldale Borough, and Muhlenberg School District all signed their resolutions to go forward with the joint comprehensive plan. And a joint comprehensive plan committee was formed between the Muhlenberg Township Commissioners, Planning Commission, Zoning Hearing Board, Parks Department, as well as officials from Laureldale Borough, the Muhlenberg School District, and the Berks County Planning Commission. We had a team of around a dozen or so people that worked very hard on this plan, and I think we're all very proud of the product that we made today. We launched our public survey in January of 2022. That ran for approximately a year and was promoted extensively by both the municipalities and the school district. We received approximately 500 replies to the survey, split pretty equally between both municipalities. And in May of 2022, we began meeting. We met approximately 14 times and had, I'd say, 4 edit sessions. One of them going 4 hours that we went page by page. This is actually my copy that we sat and went line by line through the plan together. And then we held our public comment period beginning at the end of July. So today I'm here because Laureldale Borough has adopted the plan as of September 11th. And tonight I'm hoping that you'll do the same. So if you have any questions.
Yeah, you
Where you started, you described what you're talking about, you're just saying the plan. We have a very plan.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. The joint comprehensive plan would be a vision, a cohesive vision between the two municipalities and the school district. Sort of a roadmap for moving forward. It helps guide decisions that are being made throughout municipalities and helps aid in joint efforts moving forward with things such as the Fifth Street revitalization or the protection of the Schuylkill River and the Laurel Run. It's a way to work together and have a cohesive vision for the future.
Just for the record, sir, can you state your name and address?
Yeah, Jim Rinker, 3919 North Alabama Avenue.
Can you spell your last name, please?
RINKER.
Thank you.
You turn the volume up, we can't hear it back here.
Sorry, we can't turn the volume up any more than it already is, but we can try to talk louder. Does anybody else have any other questions from the public regarding the plan?
Or if I may, ladies and gentlemen, a comprehensive plan is a guide that's used by municipalities when they're making decisions on future land use, zoning reviews. It's used by in this case, the Board of Commissioners, or if it was a different type of township, a second-class township, it would be used by a Board of Supervisors. It's used by the zoning hearing board, it's used by our planning commission. That every group that comes before the municipality to come in and build or rezone, questions on zoning relief. It is a guideline for the community to set out what kind of community we want to be and what kind of community we may not want to be. And we are required to do this every 10 years, I believe. But in Muhlenberg, our comprehensive plan had not been updated, I think, since 2008 or 2010 was the last plan that we had. Normally what happens is a municipality will contract this out to a group of engineers or someone who specializes in trying to put these things together. And then you're paying tens of thousands of dollars to have somebody come in and write something, and they don't really get into the nuts and bolts of the community itself. Now, Muhlenberg has been very fortunate. Walt Soda, who for many years was the chair of our planning commission, still serves on the planning commission. Walt was able to go back to the last plan that we had and actually marked off some of the goals from that plan. And we found that Muhlenberg lived up or actually met about 85% of the goals that were set out. And when we realized that it was time for us to update the plan, I pushed the idea that we could do this plan in-house. That there are a lot of smart people that are appointed to our planning commission that sit on our zoning hearing board, people from the school district, and representatives from the community, that we could get input and find out what Muhlenberg and what Laureldale wants to be without having an outside entity come and tell us what they think we should be or tell us what they think we wanted to hear. So this was an extremely long process. We met here over 2 years ago in this room, and we put together a committee to start to build this plan. And what we think we've come away with the help of the Planning Commission and Laura to keep us on point, it is a plan that really represents what Muhlenberg is today, who we are as a community, what we would like to see. And a lot of that came from input that we got from you, the community. We set up a booth at Riverfest and Spring Fiesta to solicit feedback directly from you, the residents. Because, the board didn't want to just sit here and arbitrarily make decisions. And we really wanted to know what your concerns were. What are your concerns about housing? What are your concerns about future growth? What are your concerns about the Fifth Street corridor? And it was a very, very long process. The 4-hour session to sit down and go over this page by page was very arduous. And before that, the planning commission sat down and they came in, they had a multi-hour session where they reviewed it. We had a lot of input, and I think the most important thing that I would like the board of commissioners to take away tonight is that this is not going to be a plan that's just going to sit on a shelf and collect dust. This is a plan that calls for us to periodically, over the course of the next 5 years or so, to actually make sure that we are on point, that we are updating the things that need to be updated. I'm going to call it a living plan. It will be online so that all of the residents can see it. So that we can continually get input and make changes so that in another 10 years, we're not going through the same long process. This will be something that gets updated in its current, every year we're gonna be able to take a look at this. And again, it's something that the board of commissioners, whoever's sitting here after the election, is going to be able to refer to when they're making decisions. It's something that the planning commission will be able to look to, something that the school district will be able to look to. Because we had a lot of conversations on the current state of the school district. What are their needs? What does the student population look like in another 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now? And what will they need from a facilities type of standpoint? So all those things were taken into consideration when we put this plan together. I would encourage, once we vote on this, and I'm hoping that we will pass this tonight, and we have it online, I do encourage everybody to go and take a look at it and continue to give us your feedback.
Any further questions?
If there's no further questions, then we can go off the record, and thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would make a motion to adopt resolution, the joint copies.
And I'll second that.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any? The ayes have it and so ordered. Thank you for everyone and all your hard work for this long process, and I appreciate it in the entire team. So moving on, I imagine many of you are here because of the correspondence you may have received from the Muhlenberg Township Authority. So before we get into public comment, and I'm sure some folks have signed in just to sign in and probably don't want to speak, but we're going to talk a little bit about what we've gotten to this point and where we were at this point and what we're doing moving forward. So I would ask that you just please listen to the Board of Commissioners with their comments, what the future holds, because there's been a lot of misinformation that's been out there in the public, i.e. selling the system, i.e. the township wants their money, all that is completely not true. So we want to set the records, it's not, sir. So if you could please allow us to speak, please. Please, so we can discuss the importance of it. We'd appreciate that. So for now, I'm going to turn this over to Commissioner Wolfinger, who is our liaison.
I think it's fitting that I am the first one to talk, although I'd like to hear all of you mention what's going on. I guess I've been the biggest supporter of the authority over the years. I've been twice now the liaison. I have not always agreed with a lot of things that have been going on at the authority because I hear complaints. And what I don't like is when someone calls me up and says, hey, the customer service person is rude, or they turned my water off and I paid the bill. I always have to say, you gotta call the Muhlenberg Township Authority, because it's a separate entity. The township commissioners one time created the authority. We appoint the 5 members of that board of the authority. You know, but when there's complaints out there, it always ends up right up here. We've heard complaints, I've heard complaints, I've been a commissioner for 9 years. And the last couple of times that things really kind of broke was these last water main breaks, that the one part of the township was out of water for 3 days without any type of notification. Restaurants were advised to boil water. I mean, we heard complaints like crazy. My phone rings all the time, rang all the time over that period of time. So we were talking about it and we thought we'd throw this thing out as a what if. What if the authority was dissolved? Township created it. And I'm gonna tell you tonight, we're not gonna vote to dissolve the authority tonight. But I gotta tell you why. You know, in August, I was at an MTA board meeting. And we were talking about why the township is putting them through this. And I said to them, why aren't you guys making some positive changes? Now's the time to do it. Now, I like a lot of the board members. Scott Blair, I think, is a very good chairman. Personally, I don't like rubber stamp boards. I've been president of 2 boards. I'm a member of this board. Rubber stamp boards just do what a leader wants to do. That doesn't happen here. We question this man all the time. At that meeting in August, I said, why don't you make these changes? And I came up with 11 on the list. I handed this thing out for you to look at. Because my 10 are on here, the changes. And what I've seen in the last month and a half, 2 months from the Muhlenberg Township Board, the MTA Board, is I've seen some positive change. And I've been telling all my fellow board members this. Yeah, I think we can work with Scott Blair, with Otto, we can work with them. But we want to continue to see these changes. There's no reason why you out there who pay by credit card have to pay $8. There's no reason why your water shut off after one failure to pay a bill. We've heard all these complaints. So I think the board at the MTA has heard it also. If you go through some of these things, they have a lot of money in the bank, but the board, no professional, they just put it in the CDs here and there. I said, get a controller. And they proposed to get a controller. A lot of people out there had backflow issues with their sewers. Sewers going into the basement. They have a lot of money in the bank. I said, why don't you help people pay to get the check valves or backflow valves? If they're in a bad area and it's happened before, why don't you help these people out? You have the money, help them pay for the backflow, maybe 50% or whatnot. That's on here. Backflow, in fact, they voted it in the last meeting. Changes in billing policy. Your water won't be turned off after the first miss. It'll be turned off after the second miss, and there's got to be some contact. How many times have I heard, I tried contacting the authority, but nobody gets back to me? I said, why don't you have a 24/7 person pick the phone up? Screen the calls. If it's an important one, get in touch with the manager. They're gonna have this inline 24/7 live emergency contact on December 31st. The website upgrades. The original website that I saw was very antiquated. And I see now that the manager has upgraded that. I think it can go a long ways yet. But they're going to be upgrading their website so there's better communication. Communication is the big thing. We try here to be open. I love having all you people here for this meeting. I wish you'd be here more often, but you can be. See this little owl here? I talk with my hands all the time. I'm sorry, I'm married to talent. This owl puts this meeting on YouTube. You can be at home and be at our meetings. You can go back on the prior meetings and listen and see what's going on. We try to be very open with the public. There's going to be customer service training. I've had a lot of people call me and say they talk down to me, they're rude. That shouldn't be. No customer service should be sworn at. No customer service person should take any guff from a person. If that person comes in and acts that way, kick it upstairs to the person who makes a little more money. Nobody should have to put up with any type of stuff. But customer's not always right, but you can be respectful to the customer. So there should be customer service training, and that's going to be started. Future office location. We have an office right over here that's perfect for people to come in. They can pay their sewer bills, water bills, they can pay the trash bills. It should be in one location. We've recommended that, and I think we're taking that up for consideration. Direct deposit. I mean, I don't, most of my bills, my electric bills, my gas bills, my phone bills, Lowe's. I don't have to do anything. It automatically is taken out of my checking account and the bill's paid. There's no reason why that can't be with the water authority. That is one that they're going to be working on. They're working on electronic bill pay. And that should be hopefully happening sometime in like December 31st. These are all things that I was pushing for when I first became a liaison back in 2014. I would go to these meetings and I didn't want to get in the woods. I mean, it was the authority. I was the township commissioner. But I would say to them, okay, the bill's due the 31st. Why don't you give them some slack? Because the bill not paid by the 31st, they get disconnected. That's not right. Now they're going to be giving them time. I said, why don't we let them pay by credit card? Oh, we can't do that. You can't do that because there's a water bill and there's a sewer bill, and the credit card can't cover both. Well, yes, it can. It does right now. They just charged you for it. I saw all these things that I didn't like. My fellow commissioners can mention some of the things that they saw that they didn't like. But I'm telling you today that I've seen the authority board make some positive changes. And at this point, no one here ever wanted to dissolve the authority. It's more work here for this gentleman over here, for our assistant manager. It's just more work. And Scott, I know I look at you as being a friend, but I was angered and saddened by some of the half-truths that are going out online right now. You know, one of the things I didn't like was,
You gotta sit down.
I'm sorry, I got a little chair here. One of the things I didn't like was the Muhlenberg Township doesn't know how to run a water company, a sewer company. Well, you know what? We weren't going to fire anybody. We were still going to have Tim Feltenberger as the manager. We were still going to have all the workers that go out and do their jobs. I mean, They're Teamsters. We have Teamsters. They probably would make more money. I think our Teamsters make more money than them. And we weren't gonna fire anybody. We were going to manage or suggest to manage. And the township manages the road crews. We manage the police department. They have a good chief. We manage parks. We manage, we manage these things. We could do that, but we don't want to. We don't want your money. We don't want your money. We have $7 million in the bank. We can't spend $3 million of it. That's our rainy day fund. In 9 years as a commissioner, getting the budget together, we raised taxes twice. And one of those was because the ambulance association needed money. We're not looking to spend your money. We don't need the money. And then I hear we haven't raised your water rates since 2018. Well, that's all good. But if you have $40 million in the bank, my question is why you're lowering the rates? You know, there's things here, and I don't think I'm saying too much. I want to work with the Muhlenberg Township Authority. We all do. But there has to be better communication between the authority and the public. And you got a notice, I think, when there was just recently, there was a break. And our IT person helped the manager put that out. That's the communication we want. It was a new program and there's questions how to work it. You know, we want to work with the authority. We don't want to dissolve it, but as commissioners, we work for you guys. And if we close our eyes to things that shouldn't be happening, we're not doing our jobs for you. And that's why we brought this thing to a head. I'm glad the authority has taken notice of our feelings that this stuff has got to change. And hopefully this continues. So I'm recommending that we basically do not vote on this, Mr. Bobbitt. I'm recommending that we have a period of time where we see that these things continue to happen, because there should be things continuing to happen with the authority. I mean, the authority works for you, just like we work for you. Chairman, that's all I have to say.
My take on this is not much customer service. I don't get those complaints about customer service. I get the backup on my house multiple times, every time it rains. These are not only my neighbors, these are also my clients from my work of what I do. And they want me to solve it as an insurance agent, which I can't. But at least I am here and I would like to do something for them. I want the authority to have some sort of plan for them for the future. I do not want to see my clients spending thousands of dollars because the system is working. Something is happening to the system and I would like the authority to have a future plan. If the weather is changing, we should have a future plan on how to manage this water. Because most of this issues we had was with the sewer system. So that would be my main concern and why I voted the way I did.
Good. My comment first, I want to give credit to all the employees of the Muhlenberg Township Authority. When you think about that was formed in 1940, I believe somebody told me. When you think about how small Muhlenberg Township was in 1940 and where we are today in 2023. So first of all, my hat's off to all the Muhlenberg Township Authority employees that are present today, that have retired or have left the Muhlenberg Township Authority, because our system is huge in size compared to when it started back in 1940. So I want to give credit also to the members of the Muhlenberg Township Authority Board that served during that period of time. But what we can't distract from is the Commissioner Wolfinger said is that we've seen a trend in customer service failing on customers. And that means residential customers, that's our commercial customers and our industrial customers. When you have a water main break and you don't hear for days as to when is your water going to be restored. And then you don't hear, do I have to boil my water or can I drink it? That's a failure on the Muhlenberg Township Authority's part. They need to communicate better. You know, one of the things the commissioners are attempting to do is economic development in the township. Well, when economic developers come in and talk to restaurants, talk to medical offices and say, hey, how's your water supply? Well, you know what? We don't get any information about breaks. We don't know if we should have the second shift come in. We don't know if we have to boil water in a restaurant or not. What do you think that does for economic development in the township? It's not a positive thing. So I voted in favor of the resolution at last meeting also because the trend from a customer service perspective was going in the wrong direction. I will say at the last meeting, I've read the minutes of the last meeting of the Muhlenberg Township Authority, as Commissioner Wolfinger has pointed out, a lot of positive actions have taken place. But I'm waiting to see the results. You can take actions, but if you don't get the results, that's not achieving our goal. So I want to start hearing from our residents. I want to hear from our commercial customers that they've seen improved customer service. And when I hear that, then I will be fine with the Muhlenberg Township Authority continuing to do their job. But for now, we need to make some adjustments.
Thank you, Commissioner Lurch. Sure. So I want to thank my fellow commissioners for voicing their concerns. As you can see, it has been a very passionate conversation that's been taking place over the course, actually, since Thanksgiving of last year. I've had a lot of people come to me and tell me that we should not dissolve the MDA because they're happy with our water rates. And I've had just as many people come to me and tell me that we should dissolve the MDA, mainly because of the customer service issues that they face. I would probably venture to guess that most of you sitting in the audience tonight have not had an individual issue with the MDA. I would guess that many of you that live on the east side of Fifth Street probably didn't lose water during the last two major main breaks, while those of you who live on the west side were without water for days, and with very little, if any, notice when those main breaks occurred. I would venture that many of you that live on the east side of the township probably have not had a lot of sewage backup. And I know that there are plenty of people who live on the western side that not once, but twice, had $10,000 to $50,000 worth of damage to their homes because of inactivity on the part of the MPA. I know that you heard that we were reluctant to go to meet with the MPA because they didn't know what we wanted. After the first main break, Commissioner Wolfinger and I went to an MPA meeting and we gave our concerns. We talked about emergency plans. We talked about emergency contact. We talked about the importance of getting information out in a timely fashion. There didn't need to be a separate meeting afterwards. We already laid out the concerns that we were hearing from the residents. Now, I sat here in a meeting, in one of our meetings here, and I made a comment to one of the residents who was telling us that for the second time, that family had tens of thousands of dollars worth of sewage backup in their home. And I reminded them that the MPA is a separate legal authority that does not report directly to the Board of Commissioners. And she rightfully pointed out to me that we appoint the MPA, and that makes us ultimately responsible. So when something isn't happening, even though they don't report directly to us, we have an obligation to the residents of this township to take action. And so we did. And so we said, this is what's going to happen if we don't see results, if there are no changes, that we would dissolve the MPA. The point being that the the distribution of water and the removal of sewage would have then become a department of the township, which would then report to the township manager, over who we do have direct authority. Because the thought had occurred to me, why am I sitting here appointing people to a board if that board is not accountable to me legally? And I still have to answer to the residents. Because when I say to you that the MTA is a separate authority, how many of you have been to MTA meetings to voice your displeasure? Most people are coming here. Plenty of residents call here when they don't have water. And if I say to you, you have to talk to the MTA, well, it sounds like I'm not really handling my responsibility to you as an elected official. So we decided to take some action. The idea was not to sell off the water authority. I mean, we all know what happened down in Exeter. We all know what happens to municipalities who sell their authorities. And their rates go up. I have to pay water rates. I don't want to see my water rates go sky high. So I'm not sitting here contemplating selling off the authority. And had we taken it in-house and made it a department, that money would have been there to take care of infrastructure repairs and upgrades that we've been asking take place for many, many years. We weren't going to take $10 million from the authority and use it to pave roads. It would have still been earmarked for water infrastructure updates. So that's what brought us to a head. So for me, it's a matter of responsibility and who ultimately is responsible. The authority isn't elected, they are appointed. They are appointed by the people who are elected. So yes, I believe that there is some accountability back to us. And since we took the action that we did last month, as Commissioner Williger pointed out, we now have this multi-step improvement plan. And I too would like to be able to see it come to fruition. So I believe that I can't really add any more on the customer service base. To me, it's a matter of responsibility. So I'm glad that we took the action we did. I'm glad you turned out. I wish I would see this many people every month. I wish I would see this many of you this coming Saturday when we have our budget meeting. It's important that we hear from the residents. And I say often, if the only time you come to this meeting is because you're angry or upset about something, then I'm only getting half the information that I need to help make decisions on your behalf. We need your feedback all the time, good, bad, or indifferent, so that we can make decisions. So we had to take some action. Some of you are very, very happy with the MTA, and some of you are very, very unhappy with the MTA. But to sit here and do nothing as a member of this board, you know, that's just, I'm not then delivering on the reason that I was put in the office. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll make mine pretty short, because to reiterate everything that has been said already, I think, and to the chairman of the board, Scott, who I believe is here, stepped up to the plate and took what we were thinking about doing seriously. It's not about the money, it's about economic development. In fact, I've been around for a while. I've been involved in economic development, countless amount of hours, volunteering my time to meet with business owners who are coming in and coming down the street. You know what happens when we can't answer to them about why there was a water main break and there was no boil advisory water issue? They go down to the next county. They leave. When they Google it, like you all did, probably about the letter you got to say, well, how's the MTA performing? And you see all the online complaints about billing or customer service issues. It's hard to bring business in because we have very, very limited control over what businesses come in if they meet all of our zoning and ordinances requirements. So it's hard for us. And for me, especially with some of the brownfield sites we have, some of the bad sites we have, is since 2017, I've been asking, where's our excess capacity for our water? Since 2017. It's 2023. And we still don't really have an answer. We know they went to Maiden Creek for an answer, but we didn't see any proposals. We didn't even see any long-term capital improvements. So if we have a big parcel open up, in order to keep your tax dollars reasonable, and just to give you an example, if you come on Saturday, you know, your millage, as Commissioner Wolfinger said, the average home's assessed about $102,000 in Muhlenberg Township. Your Muhlenberg Township taxes, all we do is $472 for that home. Your school district taxes are $3,360. So it's important we develop smart economic programs to bring business in to help support that infrastructure. And that's how it's so important to me about water and all the problems that have been mentioned, and they've addressed them. We hope, to the commissioner's points, they live up to them. We're gonna continue to provide oversight to that, but in order for us to do the best job we can for all of you here, all the business owners, the ratepayers, the taxpayers, we wanna do what's best, and we want that money that they had invested back into the system. You know, just like when we had the flood the other day, we've invested money to find out how we can fix it, and are waiting on those results, that we can act on them. But just to put it down and scream, oh, we have the lowest rates, we all live here, we want low rates. But we want to be able to do other things to keep our taxes down also. And right now, hopefully, the authority has heard us loud and clear. As the elected body, we can move on as a partnership. We don't want an adversarial relationship with our water authority. That's the last thing we want. We want to do better for all of you here, for everybody. So we'll continue to try to do that to make Muhlenberg the best place to live and work. But we really have to address this issue, because if not, I don't know if you know how hard it is to bring business, especially the way the economy is now, to the Pizza Hut, to the mall where homeless, and we fought them who wanted tax breaks, the things we try to do. If they hear one negative thing, they walk down the street. They just walk down the street. And we don't want that, because that $472, you pay for parks, you pay for police, you pay for fire, you pay for ambulance, you pay for a library donation. It goes up. In this day and age, it's you know, we don't want it to go up. So that's why we did what we thought was the right thing. And we're gonna let the MTA do what they can do to hopefully help remedy those problems. But we're not gonna go away and just allow it to be swept under the bus. We're gonna ask for updates. We're gonna ask for some board members to have more involvement. So we understand that things are progressing, and I believe Scott did a great job in the last meeting showing us that they've taken us seriously and they care about making it better. So with that being said, as Commissioner Miller said, I do appreciate you all coming, but I know a lot of folks signed into the book, and sometimes they sign and don't want to speak. But I would ask if you make your comments through the timing, you know, 5 minutes or less, and then start on the left side of the room. You have to come to the mic, you have to say your name and address, and any comments that you'd like to make that the board can respond to. So anyone in the left would like to come up? So on my left, I'm sorry. On this side, like to come up and speak? We'll go right ahead.
Okay. I wrote, well, I heard everything. My name is Deb Hain. I live at 4518 10th Avenue, Temple. I've heard everyone speak here, but I haven't heard, can the MTA speak? Or is anyone representing them here?
No.
No,
No.
no one.
Yeah, Scott Lair is the chairman of the board.
Yes, Scott.
I have a question. If the MTA does not meet what you have laid out for them that they should meet, is there a deadline? I mean, has anyone said, if you do not meet this, what's going to happen?
No, there's no deadline.
There's no deadline.
No.
Want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Good evening. I'm gonna turn my back on you guys. Folks, listen, the MTA is not perfect, all right? I'm not a politician. I went to a meeting end of 2018 because I had sewer in my basement. Okay, after the meeting, somebody approached me and said, hey, why don't you be part of the solution? We could use the help, so put my name in, got appointed.
What is your name?
Yeah, first name Scott, last name Lair. So I know many of you from meetings, but I've been chair now since the beginning of 2022. 2022 was a transition year for us. We saw a change in the leadership, which was good. We just made change in the management, which is needed. I'm not here to defend the MTA or customer service. It's like anything. You have an irate customer, you have somebody who doesn't handle it right, it gets out of hand. The truth tends to be in the middle. I can do two things here tonight. I could basically tell you all my side of what you've heard here tonight. The actions don't meet all the stories, but that's not the intent. The intent is a plan that's been passed out, has been in place, has been worked on since the beginning of the year. Any representation that or characterization that this is something that just happened in the last month is unfortunate, because that's not the case. We've been working very hard over the last year and a half to make changes to make this better. Changes are coming. Every opportunity that there's been a setback, the water main break in July, the water main break in November. We talk about sewers backing up, but we don't talk about why the sewer systems back up. Okay, so we got to work together to understand where stormwater needs to go and not in the sewer system. We got to understand that when we have pumps in our basement that's taking water out of the basement, it doesn't go in the sewer system. The sewer system hasn't failed. The pumps aren't failing, the pump houses aren't failing, but they're not designed for such inflow that you're seeing in these events. So we have a systemic issue with runoff from water. We don't have responsibility for runoff from water. Township does. And that in the past, when the MTA would have been not our problem. That's not the approach we've been taking for the last 21 months. Identify issues, make changes. I like to tell you things move fast. We meet once a month. You basically have a volunteer board. Yes, there's a small stipend, $200 a month that the board members get paid, but this is a volunteer effort that the appointment comes through on. And it's not about the money, it's about doing the right thing. I'm on this board because I had sewer in my basement. And I'm still working at that property to make sure I don't get sewer in the basement. So it's not been solved for me either. But what you can do for me, and I think you can do for yourself, problem here is not the township. The problem is with the act that exists that allows control of dissolution of authorities in the state. Go to your state senator, go up the ladder and ask for that. It requires a referendum and a public vote for these decisions. You do that, you always have a voice. And you don't have to worry about the Exeter Township or anything else going on. Take it there. And again, we've been given 6 months. We've been told not going to vote tonight. Well, if you revisit in 6 months, we'll see where we're at in 6 months. I think you're going to be amazed where we're at 6 months, but I want to be clear. This isn't a 6-week effort that's got us to this point. This has been an effort that's been worked on. I see the folks from Eagles Landing in the back there. They've been in a number of issues with the sewer back there. And again, we're working on it. I don't think we have a full solution, but I think at least hopefully you appreciate that we have solutions for you that previously weren't even addressed. So I'll be happy to take any questions. Anybody? Go ahead, please.
Who else is on the board?
Sure, it's a 5-member board. I'll avoid Rick Hefner, who represents Lauderdale, Rick Hoffmaster, and Jim Kelly. Please.
I have a question, sir. With the MTA, if I wonder if there was a negative balance, sir, if the township would still be interested in this. Also, sir, I'm worried because we've seen it happen in Montgomery County. We've seen it happen in Exeter Township. When they want to sell out the hedge funds, anybody knows hedge funds is a partnership between, investors and stuff like that. So we think that that's exactly what they're trying to do, but I don't know for sure. And you're right. I like what you said. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a work in progress. But I think what's going to happen is if we as residents, will allow this to happen, then we're going to see our sewer rate. I mean, right now, we're the second in the state. I mean, we have the best sewer rates right now. I mean, you can't get them any better than that. I'm afraid that if the township takes over, you're going to see like Exeter Township, Montgomery, you're going to see 3 times higher people,
So a little bit about the money. First of all, the money's not my money. Money's not the township money. Money's your money. Okay, you guys all pay rates. It's all your money, right? We have responsibility to take care of that money. You should all be aware of this. If you're not, we don't treat our sewer. Our sewer goes down the pipes through Reading to Briss Island. Okay, so we pay quarterly bill to Reading to process the sewer. It's a very expensive bill. Part of the problem is Reading has a requirement to reconcile every year to make sure what it looks like. You pay an estimate and then they come back with the reconciliation. We haven't seen that in a number of years. So we decided to pull that money back. Put the pressure on the city to basically give us our reconciliation. We don't know if we have to pay more money or if we have a refund. Last time they did, I think it was 2018, we actually got a refund. We've heard of it, right? So that money is earmarked, at least part of that for that purpose. There's an improvement effort at Fritz Island that has to be done, that all municipalities that participate in have to pay for that. So when we last increased rates back in 2016 for sewer, that was in an effort when we got notified to put that money away so nobody would see a traumatic impact down the road. Well, they didn't do the improvements. So that money has been collected and set aside so that we're prepared for that. To the commissioner's point, there's things we should be doing, I think, more aggressively in the township. I think we need to partner on the stormwater situation. If stormwater is affecting sewer, sewer money should be able to be used to affect stormwater problems. Not exclusively, but we can see where that overlap is. So I'm not going to speak to, again, what the intent here is. My responsibility, similar to what I've heard from the people who appointed me, is I have a responsibility to also protect your money. So when this comes down the way it comes down, and some of the things that you're not aware of come down, this board, as far as the MTA, hired special counsel, took advice based on what you're seeing in the state, and we took action appropriately. And it may not be agreed with, it may be viewed as it's not accurate, but you will see my signature on the document, you'll see the vice chair's signature on the document. We felt very strongly this is the action we should take to protect everybody. And again, I appreciate you all coming out because, like the commissioner says, it'd be nice to have this kind of participation on this. Good.
I have my last question then, sir. So, let's say, we're hoping you don't fail, but let's say the MTA fails, okay, the township takes over. Can the people behind you write contracts saying, hey, we're not gonna sell out to hedge funds? Are they willing to say, we're not gonna be able to do that, or whatever the case may be? I'd be interested if they're gonna be like, hey, for every resident, we're not gonna sell out, we're not gonna use this money for roads when it should be used for what it should be used for.
Well, Scott, I think if you were to go to the water authority meeting, answer, I think every board member here said on public record that there's absolutely zero interest from this board unanimously to ever sell our water system, ever.
But you could put it in contract, you'll see that's.
If this were going that far, I feel strong not to sell the company. I would push for a 50-year moratorium on not selling. That's how I feel about not selling the water company. It sucks. It's Muhlenberg.
And folks, if you go to the state and you get the law changed, you don't have to worry about it, because then that's become the voting vote.
Well, we don't want it to come see, Scott, we want to, we don't want it to come down there, we don't want to get into political debates about the letter and the factual content. So I think if anyone has correct and further comments for the board, please let us know.
Hang on, Scott, if you would, please. The last gentleman that just spoke, for the minutes, can you please state your name and address?
You talking to me, sir?
Yeah, the last one
Rick
spoke.
Eckers, and it's River Road,
Your address?
3925 River Road.
Thank you.
And, again, Jim Rinker, 3909 North Alabama Avenue. So I think we have a problem here that needs to be resolved, and I heard both sides of the story. But the definite resolution needs to be made between the water source system and the runoff, and that needs to be managed by the commissioners who actually have authority or who actually have a say from the people, because it seems to me like you guys have a humongous work chest that's not being utilized for appropriate fixes to the source system. And we can't have this back and forth between the commissioners and the MTA on having a resolution while we have like a number of different backups in people's houses, and having fights between, or I should say, disagreements between the MTA and the Board of Commissioners on how that's to be resolved. It needs to be resolved now. It can't be resolved when you guys decide on, an agreement. So I think that from that standpoint, somebody from the board needs to, from the Board of Commissioners needs to take authority over that.
So if I may, to that comment, I don't remember, it was the last meeting, the meeting before, in follow-up to the flooding that we had, the board has engaged an engineering firm to take a look at the flooding that took place in the township over the last two major floods. And to give us some proposals on just what it would take to prevent that from happening again. If anybody was here at the public meeting that we had, where we had representatives from the county and the state here, to Scott's point, nothing happens very quickly. The study has to take place, to find out just what can and cannot be done as far as state regulations, to find out just how much it's gonna cost. And we have to determine whether or not any of the action that we take is gonna do anything in the long run. Because, you know, even if we put more stormwater grates and dump more stormwater into the creeks that we already have, we're just exacerbating the problem that we already have if we don't address what's happening with the creeks themselves. So that's a multi-step process that's already taking place.
So to go one step further, I want this board to work closely with the MTA board, and for that reason, two members here are going to be appointed to the MTA board. So that we will meet with them on a regular basis and be actually part of the voting portion of their meeting. I think, like I said before, I don't want to say you gotta call the MTA. I'd like to be part of the MTA. So I think we can work closely together, and I believe, I look at some of these board members of the MTA as friends. And I don't, you know, we all want what's best for the community. There's no doubt in my mind, it's how do we get there? And I think we have to work together, and I think if we have two board of commissioners on the MTA board, I think we can work a lot better together.
Good. Then we're meeting.
So I understand the township appoints the board members to the board. I'm only asking, are the people appointed to the board vetted? Are they knowledgeable? Stand to the microphone, please.
Yeah, come up to the microphone.
Scott, just sit down.
Thank you.
Before you ask your question, if I may, please. If you have a question that relates directly to how the MTA itself operates, or questions for Scott, then I think that the proper venue for that would be to go to an MTA board meeting. If the question relates on how members are appointed to the MTA, or what the responsibility is back to the township, or questions for this board, then this is the proper venue for that. Just, you know, in the essence that we're directing the questions in the right venue, in the right atmosphere, to get the correct answers.
Okay, so this question is directed to the board. You appoint the board for the MTA.
Yes, ma'am.
So the people that you're appointing to the board for the water authority, how do you vet them? Do you get qualified people? Are they knowledgeable? Or is it, and I'm not trying to be mean here, is it somebody you know in the township and, oh yeah, it's volunteer
And your husband tried to get on the board, I believe.
and that is true, and thank God, you know, you always have to thank God for unanswered prayers. Not to step into this mess.
He was considered,
And I understand that, he does not want
but
to be part of that.
the people that we appointed, one works for the Pennsylvania Water Authority, Water Company, and very knowledgeable on the aspects of water sewer.
Mhm.
The other person that was appointed worked for the MTA for years and years, and was felt that maybe he would be good because he's been working there and knows a lot of the concepts that's going on in the company. Your husband was considered.
And I'm not about that. Like I
I'm
said,
sorry.
thank God
Your
for
name, please.
Bonnie DiCarlo.
Thank you.
Can you say your address for the record, please?
3705 Oak Street.
And to just further answer that question, that appointment process happens with any board that we appoint members to. So for the zoning hearing board and for the planning commission and for folks who are interested in our arts council and our parks and rec board, applications are presented into the board of directors. They are reviewed, department heads have a chance to review them and provide feedback. So yes, there's a vetting process. I mean,
Of people qualified.
yes. I mean, we're thankful for any interest, anybody that wants to volunteer. It is difficult to find volunteers. I mean, it truly is. And, we go to the public and we advertise in our public meetings. We discuss, we have an opening on this board or that board, and, we try to solicit people to apply. We want community participation on our boards. It's important. And again, it just allows all of you an extra way to give your feedback into what happens in the township. So, yeah.
That's all I was asking. Okay, thank you.
Next on my left side here. Name and address, sir, please.
Joseph Gaetani, 4321 Glenside Drive. I received this letter in the mail and read it and was disturbed, of course. Lived here my whole life, born and raised at 71 years old. So every time I turn on water, I get, except for maybe 10 times that I didn't. I have no complaints. I live on the west side. I got water in the basement. But when I read what was going on, this disturbed me. So I figured I would go to the meeting to get your side, because I never got your side till tonight. Now, it said here there was an advertisement to the ordinance. I never saw anything. Where is that advertised? I read the Reading Eagle from front to back, all 6 pages, and I never saw it in. If I would have seen it in there, then I wouldn't have been so disturbed.
Yeah, it was advertised in the Reading Eagle, and a copy of the ordinance was also on file with the law library in the courthouse, and that's just required by.
Then I missed it. However, it seems that we've come to an agreement here between you. Okay? And I guess, why did it have to get to this point where there's a threat to dissolve an organization that's been in here for 83 years and has worked with the township all those years, then all of a sudden is getting dissolved? Why didn't we get to this point before the threat of the dissolution?
Well, I think I can only answer that based on, this is for me, has been coming a long time since 2017. And quite frankly, I don't want to get into personnel conversations about the MTA and their executive director, but I wasn't really happy with the checks and balances that were there. And there had to come a point in time, and to Scott's credit, and he does amazing stuff, but I went to a meeting along with half my board here before, and we were promised some changes, and we didn't see any. And this was this for me, 1 of 4. This was it to show that we had to do what was best for the taxpayers. And Scott said some of it was being worked on, whether it was or wasn't, but we've had one man in control of this stuff. And that bothered me. And I didn't see changes on it. It seems like everything that was happening was just being done by this one person, and I want the board to have more involvement. That was my opinion, and I think to Scott's credit, he might have been working on it before, but I didn't see anything of it. I've asked their executive director for where the proposals from the other water authorities to do our future water needs. I never seen anything. I asked why we had so much money in the bank then, and never seen anything. So, and then I get all the customer service complaints about, they're trying to turn my water off. It was at the point where they had to realize we're the elected body, and we had, me personally, this was the last straw that we had to at least see some stuff. Could we have met before? But we felt we did met. We attended the meeting. So that's for me. That's why I thought we had.
I understand that. But the one thing I think I want to get across is, I think the most important thing that the township gives us is water, okay? I mean, we can't live without it. It's vital to us. And when there's a threat that the Water Authority of 83 years is gonna get shut down, I think that's why a lot of people are here, is because that causes concern. We're not talking about, you know, we didn't pave a road or things like that. So I guess in the future, all I ask as a taxpayer here is that we work together before we get to a point like this. Because this was really upsetting to a lot of people.
Okay, well, let's thank you.
Thank you.
Any others on the left side?
I'm John Cosmo, 422 Jefferson Street. I just have two comments about this $43 million that's going to be earmarked. Now, this board has said, strictly, off limits. But how about a future board? Can't they just un-earmark that fund?
Well, that would be done for that's still the Muhlenberg Township Authority money.
I mean, if it comes here.
If it would come here, which is not on the table, I would hope that a future board can do whatever they want. I mean,
So
as long as it's within the law.
So they can un-earmark the money.
I mean, the county standards, they cannot touch that money for any other reason other than water or sewer. So people want to say other than.
I don't agree with that.
Well, that's.
I believe this board can put a reservation in that fund,
No,
and if they put it on,
by
they can
county
take it off.
standards, you cannot legally touch that money for any other reason.
We've stored money that we get whenever they build houses, that some money will come in for development.
That's different.
Why?
This is money coming from the sewer authority, it's coming in here. I mean, the city of Reading used to do this all the time. They would rate that water authority when it was part of the general fund. And they would use it to pay the bill. And I believe that if you can earmark the money for sewers, you have the ability to un-earmark the money.
Well, we're gonna have to agree to disagree. Your next comment, sir?
Okay, the next comment was, I heard something about investments and needing a controller or a comptroller, whatever they have investments. The authority and you have a limited amount of investments that you can make. It's FDIC, CDs, or US Treasuries, and that's it. Am I wrong on that? That's my comments.
Thank you, sir. Any others on the left side of the room? Yes, ma'am.
I guess I just have a quick question. I'm Joanne Brancadora, and my address is 830 Lobelia Avenue. And when it happened, the flood happened in, that rain in July, I guess it was, I was coming home, driving down Hayne Avenue, okay, in Muhlenberg Township, and the water was absolutely everywhere. And they told me to turn around and go home another way, which I did. And the following day, Monday, all the water had disappeared. I don't know where it went, but it had disappeared. And I remember years ago when I was a kid, there was no bridge there between Muhlenberg and Riverview. And then when that bridge was made, the water used to flow under the bridge, okay, to what is now Laurel Run Park down there near the river. Okay, and then I guess eventually it went into the river. I don't know. But I was just wondering if any money could be earmarked because, like they moved it somehow. Another years ago, Board of Commissioners rerouted that water. And the water is not underneath the bridge, it was on top of the bridge and got into all those homes that were at the bottom of Hayne Avenue in Muhlenberg. And the following day, Monday, when I drove by there were big dumpsters and they were throwing out everything that was in their basements, all kinds of furniture and everything. Wooden furniture, regular sofas, everything. I mean, it was really a mess.
Sure.
So I was thinking, wonder if we had extra money or if the MTA has extra money for those people that had, sewage backing up and things like that. Could they possibly think about rerouting the water that would go underneath the bridge like it's supposed to instead of staying on top of it? Because like I said, the following Monday when I went by there, it was bone dry, and now if you go down there, it's right down there, it's nothing but stones, there is no water. So that's what I'm saying, is like, maybe it's not just a matter of the MTA versus the commissioners, it could be like a geographical issue.
Yeah, we're evaluating everything versus the July 9th corner, including Hain Avenue, so, that's gonna be part of what we can do, I'm sure. The MTA is looking at some things that we could all do together to make that situation better. 9 inches or whatever it was in
6 hours.
6 hours was a tough one for any municipality, but we're working on it. Yeah. So if you come back to future meetings, hopefully we'll have more information.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. That young lady in the back's been so patient.
You, my name is Dolores Stahl. I live at 4100 Fifth Avenue, Southampton Boulevard. I have been dealing with the water backup and sewer backup since 2005. Since 2012, I have done updates on my home because that's what I was told as a homeowner. I am responsible for what goes on. Since 2017, I have spent $20,000 upgrading my home because I own a small beauty clinic out of the lower level of my home. Every time it flash floods, this last time I was shot backing for 12 hours just to keep the accumulation. Now I put in a check valve into my sewer line, but it does not stop the storm water. I was told when that new pumping station went in, it was going to help. Unfortunately, like you said, I do realize that when we have these significant storms, that it causes havoc on the system. But I can't do this anymore. The anxiety that comes with it, that my father built that house in 1953. I have done my best to do the updates and everything that I can. What I would like from this board is to try and figure out a way, because the township has grown so much. We have lost a lot of ground. There's nowhere to, we've macadamed a lot. And I am now stuck at the bottom. All the water comes rushing down. It pools on South Temple Boulevard. July 7th was absolutely horrid. The amount of water, it just looked like a gushing river behind the houses, behind everything. So I just want to challenge this board to see what we can do to make things better. I can't keep on spending this kind of money to try and do my part, what is expected of me, but where's?
Sure. And so we did have, after the July meeting, members of the board had a breakfast meeting with Senator Schmeink. We did contact multiple offices. We were in contact with the county. We did hire, and I'm going to say, is it SPE? SPE is the engineering firm doing the evaluation for us. There's a lot more we can do, you know, for those types of flooding conditions. I mean, the manager of the Berks County Emergency Management System was here, you know, and you know, he was very blunt. Not just regarding what Muhlenberg can do, but what most municipalities can do in creeks and waterways across municipalities. That there is only so much that actually can be done. He put to bed for many people the idea that, you know, if we were to go in, you know, a lot of people said go in and just simply dredge it. And he spoke very bluntly and said, just going in and dredging it is not going to change anything. Doesn't change the floodplain, you know, actually it can cause even more damage because you're bringing even more water in faster and it hits choke points along the creek. So we have taken a number of steps to try to find out what more we can possibly do to help this situation, because we know that we are going to see more storms of that magnitude in the future.
It's just getting worse and worse, and from what I understand, in that area where we have developed was a stream, there is a stream underneath. And when you see it rain, you can just see it, there is a stream that started in Laureldale and comes all the way down behind Muhlenberg, right across the street, and it's still there, and it was built upon. So that is also a problem too, the underground streams that we have and that were macadam over.
Yes, ma'am, and, back to what we were talking about, our comprehensive plan, we did talk about flooding issues when we put our newest comprehensive plan into action. So that, future boards, when they're looking at development, any type of future development in the township, to be more cognizant of those types of issues. So, those.
Dolores Stoll, 4100 Fifth Avenue, Temple, 19560. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now we're gonna, in the sake of time,
Hi, my name is Dennis Payne, live at 3257 D Garfield Avenue. Just want to say, I'm a retired plumber. And one thing that I've seen, because I worked all over Hearst County, Shillington, a long time ago, started putting covers on every house. I just got a brief little description. Every house that's sewer connected has a running trap that has a solid cover and a vented cover. Well, when it rains as hard as it's been raining, we're getting extremely bad rains. The water is entering the sewer through those vented caps. So what Shillington did, and check with Shillington, Art Noble used to be the inspector there. They put plastic covers underneath those vented covers to prevent the excess rainwater from entering the sewer. It would be a pretty cheap fix if we would all do that. I guarantee you, you'll have less water entering the sewer system, and it would really help. That's all I wanted to say.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
We actually, at a meeting about 2 months ago, one of our residents from Temple actually brought up that very issue. And she said, a very quick and easy recommended idea to help water from doing that is to simply take a bucket out, put it over and put a rock or something very heavy on to prevent that water from flowing
The problem
in.
is, if only one or two of us do it, it's not gonna work.
Right.
Everybody gotta do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go to the right side. Anyone wish to speak? Okay, you can go after this gentleman. Yeah.
My comments aren't about the water authority, but it's open for conversation.
Yes.
I came in front of the board about 10 years ago, live along Riverview Drive, and was put into a floodplain by FEMA. I came to the board at that time and questioned why it wasn't handled properly with the letter of map provision that was required after the Felix Dam was removed. I was told that they did everything in their power that was supposed to be done, and I have letters now from FEMA, from Senator Toomey's office, who's not there any longer, explaining that it was the board that never followed through with the proper paperwork. So I have copies if everybody would like copies or.
Yeah, I think if we meet with you offhand, and talk through, I know what issue you're talking about, so we can uncover the history of what was never followed up on, because I don't think we have all that information. But I remember you bringing it up before about the whole FEMA map and what the township did or didn't do. I can't answer it, but I think we would have to do some investigation and homework into that to see, what we can do or couldn't do to help. I don't know what authority or what we have from that standpoint.
We can look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Your name, sir?
Jack Pennington.
Thank you.
Yeah, I put papers on, please. And you were gonna check into it in July or August.
The FEMA maps?
Yeah, when I told you that, you did not redo the map for FEMA when they redid the flood zone. When we built our house, we tripled Angus. And then FEMA came back in 2010 and said that we're in the flood zone. Because Muhlenberg did not
do their work. They send in the plans with the dam. I told you this months ago. You said you'd look into it, but you haven't.
Well, we will now.
Thank
you.
Answered my question, my engagement. I believe they kind of answered my question. My name is Claudette Bullock and I live at 864 Beach Street. There is a lot of water here in Muhlenberg. It's amazing. We look for water to bathe, to wash dishes, to take showers and things like that. Not water involuntarily just surrounding you. You also have to consider the people as to what they do. I have a neighbor with a very large above ground pool ground, and every year he dumps water. Every year. There's a water table, it's only gonna hold so much. Muhlenberg is full of trees, mature trees. I've had 2 trees to fall because of the water in the ground. My question is Muhlenberg considered a flood zone?
There are portions of Muhlenberg Township that are in the regulated floodway, yes.
I think all of it should be, thank you.
My name is Ethan Murray, 35 Porch Avenue. I agree with a comment. I agree with everything mostly that everybody said. I have the same concern. And I'm also puzzled. It taken so long for you guys to get to this point. Somebody said it already. So my question is, the citizen, you were going down the list.
Can you speak in the microphone, please?
Okay, you were going down the list and you didn't address 3.6. I want to know what that was. Citizen Advisory Committee?
No, that's something that the chairman proposed to do for the authority to gather a committee of citizens to basically talk about what's going on, any issues that they haven't. Scott, you might want to elaborate on.
So it really comes down to communication. You've heard earlier that in the township, people come to the township to complain about the water authority. There's this disconnect, and again, I'm not speaking up to the MTA here, I think it's a problem with it is we don't hear the problems fast enough. So again, the Eagle Landing folks in the back, I watched the meeting, made notes off of how they came to the township to complain about the sewer backup, but yes, they did come to the next meeting, but had I not heard about it, I wouldn't even prepare or even going after. So citizen advisory is nothing more than forming a group of individuals that can bring priority to what we're doing. Here's the list of things we want to work on, what's most important, how do we get in front of it.
So, are we gonna do that? And how will we know we get ready to form that committee?
Yeah, I guess go to Scott's next meeting, Scott, at your next meeting.
Thank you. November 9th, I believe it is.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yes.
Okay, okay, a lot of us haven't been to meetings, so we work night shift, but anyway, I'm here now. So anyway, like I say, I just wanna, say what the people said above. That we don't know how come it took this long to get to this point, that we had to do this, hopefully we'll resolve it, and I think, like, Steve said, that we need to work it out, see can we work it out and let everything stay as is. And hopefully we'll do a better job. And when he formed that committee, I hope everybody that wanna be on that committee, I mean, pick people that really wanna be on that committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the right, my right side, I'm sorry, is young gentleman with the hat.
My name is Chester Mercer, 300 West Bellevue Avenue. And my wife and I own Mercer Hydraulics on 2840 License Bridge Road. My question, I think, is to you. They're running an open sewer between Verizon and Med Ed that comes down between the field. I've been there since 1980. And it floods my property every time it does that. It was supposed to go under the road
into Cartech, and they were supposed to take care of it. If I tried to do something like that, I'd be arrested. They're sending all kind of garbage down there, it gets on my ground.
This is stormwater.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, this would not be the authority, this would be a township.
well, I didn't know who it was for.
Yeah.
But originally, they said it was gonna be covered with a cement cover, never was done.
When
And
you, and just so we clarify, when you said they said, who's the they said it would be covered, just so we understand.
there were so many people involved in that, I don't know, it was supposed to be Cartech's job to cover it up, but they never did.
That's a person.
And this cost me a fortune. We have people that run off the road because the road's flooded. I'm just spending $2,000 right now to get grass, fish on.
Yeah, I know, well, I wasn't, I don't know if the rest of the board or was aware, but we'll get our staff to investigate it further. To see what, the history of it, see if we can help, so Jim can make it up.
Well, it never did that. Actually, the problem is with Cartech, they put the runway going up into their number 5 mill. It's like a dam. Now, I fought with them for years to raise the gate. They have a gate there. They do raise it now. Sometimes I have to call them up and remind them to raise it. That takes most of the water, but if it's real bad, it floods the whole property.
Gotcha.
What type of garbage? Because I know where you're talking about it, but what kind of garbage? For chairs, you name it, litter, yeah, okay. Got garbage, they claim it comes off of the shopping malls. I don't know. We have your number and. Okay, very, we'll get back. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else before we move on to the rest of the agenda?
Hi, my name's Donna DeGenio. I live at 4729 Kutztown Road in Temple. And my only question is, if you're going to put 2 members of the township commissioners on the board of the MTA, are you expanding the number of people on the board, or are you kicking some board members off?
No, we could have seven-member board, we only placed 5 down.
Okay, thank
So
you.
there's 2 seats already.
Are okay, okay, thanks.
Thank you. One more in the back?
Hi, my name is Carol Phillips. I live at 4801 7th Avenue, Temple. I have a lifelong resident of Temple. I live along the Dry Creek bank for 64 years. I've watched my yard disappear 10 feet at a time. Every time this has this runoff, and nobody's ever even come out to look at it. There's trees that are down over the bank that are going to cause blockages. There's trees that are growing in the creeks, and you can't tell me that doesn't cause problems. Up until a week ago, there was a maple tree growing in the regular creek on 8th Avenue. So things can be done, because that was just done a week ago, where they cleared out all the debris that builds up, so that when it rains that hard, the water comes out over the bridges and flows down the roads. So I don't know what the answer is, but I agree with Dee's suggestion about looking at planning. Because the more macadam and houses that go up on Mount Laurel, the more water isn't gonna sink in. It's gonna just run right down like it has been. And I don't know what to do about my bank. I don't wanna lose my whole backyard. Because all I get is, there's nothing you can do. You can't go in there. Well, if you get special permits, you can go in there. So I'd like that to be looked at, and I hope that engineering study helps.
You can, there's actually a program right now, I just got the email, either yesterday or Friday. NRCS, a branch of the US Department of Ag, the National Resource Conservation Service, has grant funding available for flood remediation for individual property owners.
Okay.
So we're gonna post it on the web, hopefully tomorrow morning. So check there, we still have the flood section up, so we'll have a post there with a link that you can read about all that stuff, and what the man, Mark Buckwalter, who runs that program, is actually at the flood meeting that we had on the 11th of September. So there are some resources available there for individuals.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, any last comments? That's all right, we appreciate everyone's comments and allowing everyone to speak, so we'll take it all under advisement and just stay tuned to our future meetings, especially those about the flooding, because we continue to talk about it every month. And we'll move forward from here. So any other board members on any comments? Move on. Okay. All right. I need a motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. Any unfinished business? Seeing none, moving on to new business. A motion to approve the payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service. So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to set the township's 2022 financial report and audit completed by Rhinesville Punch Lester Certified Public Accountants.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to authorize the fire chief to purchase and upfit a pickup truck as a command vehicle for a cost not to exceed $75,000.
We have some discussion as to why you need it.
Sure.
Essentially, the current vehicle that's assigned, Dodge.
Okay.
So currently, the vehicle that's assigned, the Dodge Durango SUV, through my tenure here thus far, kind of the daily duties it requires me, obviously, to respond to calls out in the field. Pick up supplies for daily operations, move equipment around. So what I'm finding is there's not much room in that vehicle, with everything else that was required to carry. And causing me to use the back seats, the front seats, just to move stuff around, which is kind of an unsafe practice. If I'd ever be involved in an accident of such nature, as well as there's other pieces of equipment that I'm unable to carry, to, make me more efficient and effective in the field for large, incidents. So multiple reasons, the goal of the pickup truck is to make, our department more effective and efficient on scene and, allow me to fill the duties better than currently. So,
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, what happens to the current vehicle?
what happened to it?
What would happen to it?
That's,
We own the vehicle.
Yes.
So some of the issues that we've been having with our fire inspector's vehicle, we would propose replacing that. That's a 2014 Ford Escape. We replaced the transmission in it a couple of years back, and it's you drive it pretty hard.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? I do need a motion.
Move.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to approve payment application number 2, the final to Construction Master Services LLC in the amount of $29,600 for work completed on contract via the 2023 road paving project.
Move. Second.
Questions or comments?
This is the ADA ramps that were installed for the wood paving project, which is ongoing now.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to approve payment application number 1, final and change order number 2 to Barasso Excavation Inc. for work completed on the 8th Avenue Bridge Repair Project in the amount of $116,775.
Can we have some discussion on that?
Yes. The 8th Avenue Bridge Repair Project was initiated, the permitting started about a year and a half ago. PennDOT performs bridge inspections, periodic bridge inspections on any bridge that's more than 20 feet in length. And found a critical deficiency in regards to the foundation. There was some scour at the base of the foundation of that bridge. And so, with tasked the township with repairing, we had to apply for all the necessary permits to do that. Put the project to bid, Barasso Excavating got it. The work that you saw occurring at, 8th Avenue, that was a result of that project. They cleaned 50 feet up and 50 feet downstream of the bridge, and performed the repairs on the foundation of the bridge itself.
Thank you, Jim. Need a motion for that? Second. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. In motion to adopt ordinance 613, accepting deeds of dedication for portions of Commerce Street.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to authorize the public works superintendent to put the annual snow removal project out to bid.
That time of year.
Second.
Questions or comments?
It's not gonna snow.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I need a motion to authorize the solicitor to intervene in the tax assessment appeal for the property of 5470 Allentown Pike.
Move.
Second.
This is typically an action that's taken by the school district. This is a tax appeal of the, what was the Carbon Light, now the Alpec property. You may recall when they built that property, they applied for, LERTA, the local economic tax, revitalization. What they're trying to do now is go back and reassess the site, which would mean the percentage that they're eligible to pay would be reduced even further than what the LERTA would have required them to pay.
Is the school district part of this?
The school district absolutely is,
They will
yes.
move.
Second. I'll second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I motion to approve escrow reduction number 7, the amount of $40,000 for work completed on River Crest Phase 2 subdivision. So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to accept the applicant's offer of a time extension for the 4536 Franklin Road subdivision project located at 4536 Franklin Road.
Move.
Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to accept the application's offer for one-time session for the Title 8 Car Wash Land Development Project located at 5320 Allentown Pike.
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments?
If I may, all three of these, maybe for the public's sake, I should have commented on this earlier. The municipal planning code requires that the governing body decide on an application, a subdivision and land development application within 90 days of receiving that application, that submission. Because of all of these projects were received, we're getting close to that 90-day timeline. So we need to accept an extension from the applicant in order for us to be able to continue to work through the review process to be sure that they meet all of the ordinances. If we didn't take this action, they would get what's called a deemed approval, and they would get to just build whatever it was that they proposed without any insight or meeting any of the ordinances of the township. So.
And this won't be heard at the next planning commission.
The car wash will not, 4536 Franca, and the NDA Muhlenberg LLC will.
Thank you, Jim. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to accept the applicant's offer of a time extension for the NDA Muhlenberg LLC land development project located at 4450 North Fifth Street Highway. So moved.
Second.
Any further questions or comments?
Where is that?
The last one that was mentioned is the old Manderbach used, or not used car lot, the Manderbach used car lot.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any other new business?
I would like to say something, and many times the chairman says, Wolf, why are you saying that now? It's election year. But I gotta say something that, that some people here might not like. But, the other night, I came up Hartman Road, and I saw 25 deer in the land, near Elm Avenue. And, if you know anything about deer, 25, half of them are females. And there's gonna be 1.5 little guys running around, next year. My concern here is that we have a deer population problem in our township. I know a lot of other places are actually hiring professionals to come in to take care of the problem. What I'm proposing is we allow our manager or assistant manager to kind of look into a plan. That we could, by lottery system, look in the basin area where a lot of the deer are. That we offer through lottery system, archers a chance, organized, they be picked. Then they would have to go through a qualification as to can they shoot and do they know the rules? There'd have to be a closing of the park for safety purposes, but if we don't do anything, at 2:30 this morning, there's gonna be 2 deer at my front door and my ring doorbell's gonna be going off. They're all over the place in the township, and I think what we should do is have our administration look at it and come up with some type of plan that we can vote on. I don't think we can do it this coming year, but we have to start thinking about it now for next year.
Commissioner, I'll comment on, we did look at this, I think before your time, Jim, years ago. And there's something to just for Joey and Jim, the game commission had a big problem with it. So I think they have to start there. I don't remember it, but we did talk, because I always said to you, who wants the caravan driving down River Road tonight, it's danger, you know, so like, you know, I think we need to investigate it further, so, but I would start with the game commission, because they're the ones who put the block on it last time, so.
And you have to stop feeding the deers as well.
Okay, any other new business from the board? Moving on to board appointments, I'd like to make the motion to appoint Commissioner Muhlenberg and Commissioner Lasota to serve on the Muhlenberg Township Authority Board for terms expiring December 2024 and December 2025 respectively.
Move.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any other public comment at this time? Yes, Linda. You got about 5 minutes to please start it.
Okay. Linda Roebuck, I'm the board president at the Muhlenberg Community Library, and I just wanted to remind everybody that this Saturday is our 3rd craft fair, and this year it's at the high school.
Okay.
And it's in the same time as the Lions Club breakfast, so we hope you'll support both of them. I put some papers over there about our fundraising, and tomorrow is our fundraiser at Norta Sur, the Mexican restaurant up there. Anything that you buy, 15% of it, dine in or take out, is donated to the library. And there's some other papers with all the different things that are going on this fall. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on, we'll move on to staff comments. Mr. Dunkel.
You know, push that, no comment this time.
Joseph. Ernie.
The road project is currently going on. We have about another week and a half, and we'll all be wrapped up and all the roads will. The Water Street got finished today, right before this meeting, so that is nice and smooth for everyone. Tomorrow we'll be finishing North Temple and Darby, a little bit of 8, and then we'll be moving up into the Temple.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, our budget meeting is this Saturday, the 21st at 8 AM, and it's right here.
October 1st, our body worn cameras and in-car video systems went into service. Attended the Temple Halloween parade, great. And just remind everybody to be careful, trick or treating is gonna be coming up. Obviously, a lot of little kids running around in the streets, so just use that caution.
Thank you, Chief. Aaron?
The Halloween parade was actually on this year, you know, it rained all day, but it did clear up at 3 o'clock-ish and everything was fine. We only had 3 groups that opted not to participate, even with the weather, so I think that was going quite well, for that. Hollow was this past weekend, rain was once again a factor. Friday, Sunday night were great, Saturday was a little washouts. But, yeah, we still service probably 1,200, 1,300 people on the hot here.
Planning commission here, on Wednesday night, we'll talk about those couple of plans that we gave time extensions to tonight. Also, here before too long, you should see some work occur down on River Road. We're starting the Schuylkill River Trail extension through Muhlenberg. That'll start at Kelly's Lock and extend up to Laurel Run Park. And as I mentioned previously, we'll get it posted on the web tomorrow morning. The USDA National Resource Conservation Service has some funding opportunities for flood remediation for individuals, for individual property owners at this point. We'll get that on the web tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Jim. Commissioner from the center.
I do want to thank Scott there for being here tonight and offering his comments. Look forward to just better communication and dialogue between us and the MTA. And that's not absolve us of any, communication deficiencies. We can all do better, I think, when we speak. I know things kind of came to a head. I want to thank everybody who came out tonight for coming. I want to thank those who spoke for speaking and providing your thoughts and your ideas. I want to thank the rest of you for just participating in your local government. It takes a lot to run a township. It really does. There's a lot that is discussed, a lot that takes place, and the more information we have from you, the better our decisions can be in the long run. So thank you all for coming out tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Commissioner Lucille. Yeah, I'd just like to offer a comment with respect to September's police department report. One of the things that I look for as liaison with the police department is what actions are we taking as a police department that are proactive versus reactive. And when you think about reactive, I think about the police responding to traffic accidents, to retail thefts, those types of things where residents or employees are calling and asking for the police department to respond. And obviously, you'd like to keep that number low. I'm pleased to see in the monthly report this month, Chief, that there's been a lot of proactive action accomplished by the police department. There's been DUI checkpoints, which are a positive thing to do. The SRO program that was started with the Muhlenberg School District, I've received good feedback from not only the administration, but from school teachers and actually from some of the students that they welcome to police officers to that. Again, all proactive things. We just finished the back to school program, looking at school crossings and speed limit in school crossings, and looking at the report, looks like we issued actually 76 citations to individuals because of that. And the last thing I want to point out is we also did, some of us remember it as click it or ticket or buckle up program. We did that and we issued 131 citations. So again, all proactive things I think that our police department's doing to help prevent injuries to visitors or to our residents. So I just wanted to thank you and the staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wolfinger.
I don't know if the fire chief has anything to say, but I want to applaud our volunteers. This year we had 13 new members join the Fire 66 department. And by the end of the year, we will have accumulated over 1,600 calls this year. It's a lot more volunteers. And I think we may be looking at this year as to employing some full-time staff, just because not everybody can go out to the fires on a volunteer basis. I'm amazed at how many people we do. We have a good percentage of guys coming out, but we might only have 1, 2, or 3 people at fire, and that's not good. So that's why we need to have some type of good fire staff. Chief, anything you want to echo on that?
Sure, just another busy month. Last month, 127 calls for service answered by the volunteers. We just finished up fire prevention week efforts this past week. We've probably approximately 800 students in various school districts as well as childcare that we visited throughout the week. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Just a thank you for everyone to come and be part of the dialogue and no additional comments.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. You know, we do, like to hear your feedback, and you can all reach out to us as much as you can. Just to Scott's point, even though we are elected, this isn't a full-time job either. You can call Commissioner Wolf here, he's retired, or Commissioner. They're retired, have lots of time on their hands. Seriously, we try to do everything we possibly can to get out and answer your concerns. And, our staff is busy. As I mentioned, we do a lot of work. And if you come on Saturday, you'll hear it for what we've done with your tax dollar, which I think over the last decade is pretty good, comparatively speaking. So, because we pay them too, and I don't want my taxes to go up either. So we have a lot of important things we gotta talk about with the future of emergency services, some of the things that we're struggling finding staff for both police, fire, our ambulance association. So, please come and be part of the process, but please educate yourself and ask us questions. We're always happy and transparent to provide you the actual factual information that you would need. We would take great pride in giving you the truth. So there's no ulterior motives up here on this board. I can tell you that. I sat here for a while, and sometimes that wasn't the case, but I'm very proud to work with my peers, and I think Saturday you'll see it in action. We do our best to do the best for the future of Muhlenberg. So once again, I'll shut up because the Phillies are starting soon, so thank you all for coming, and hopefully see you soon.